minute down the road show. This is the first podcast we've done in 10 years. Everything started as a podcast with a little bit of a video twist, and we weren't able to continue it back then. Well, now we're back with all new episodes in a brand new format. So we are basically a nerdy entertainment podcast with a lot of soul and depth. So hold on tight, because we got a lot of different kind of content coming your way. Let's get to our first guest.
Hey everybody, it's Bryan C Dunn, your lazy life coach, your hypnotist and your havening practitioner, helping you live a happier, healthier, wealthier life, minimal investment, maximum gains, and you're watching Down the Road Show with Casey Murdock.
Hey everybody, let's welcome in Bryan C Dunn, your lazy life coach.
How's it going, everybody? I'm glad you're here. I'm glad to be here.
We're glad to have you. Thank you very much for the hypnotherapy you did on me on Friday. It actually helped calm and relax me. Not just that, but energize me. So I actually didn't get to take that nap I was planning that I need to plan ahead with my energy and my disability, sir.
Now, Casey, an hour of hypnosis is equal to about 7 hours of sleep you ever take. So, see, you were set. You didn't need a nap, baby.
Yeah, and you're right. And it's because of that I was able to get my interview with Elena Huffman that night. Which is coming up right after this, so stay tuned.
Oh, that'll be awesome. I'm looking forward to seeing that.
So, what's going on with you, my buddy?
You know what? Things are moving along with me. It's really nice. The havening that I've been doing, which is a way to kind of reset the brain that has been traumatized, is kicking along. It's really exciting. And so
Let's give all the listeners a shorter version than you told me explaining havening the other day.
All right. When a traumatic event occurs, the brain changes physically. Havening gives you a factory reset. That's basically it in a nutshell. And while talk therapy is great and helps out, and while pharmaceuticals may help out, that doesn't solve the problem. This havening actually does a factory reset and fixes those cells that have changed. Yeah, it's at a cellular level, molecular level. It's crazy.
Right, because it's a combination of both talk therapy and touch therapy at the same time. And as a trained massage therapist, it's something I heavily believe in, and I can see where it would work, and the effects are instantaneous.
Yeah, it's pretty phenomenal. And the guy that devised it has been, he's a neuropharmacologist. So he spent his career studying brain chemistry. And he kind of did this on a lark to determine why, these touch-based approaches work. It just as a hobby, Petri dishes full of brain cells, amygdala cells, fiddling with them, and then he devised the havening. It's called havening because it's creating a safe haven in your mind.
Oh, that makes sense. I like that.
Yeah. The technical term is amygdala depotentiation therapies.
I will not be repeating that.
I don't think you're allowed to. I think the FCC has a problem with all three. So, havening therapies, and I was trained about 1.5 years ago and became a certified practitioner a year ago, and I've been just knocking them dead ever since. Really helping people dealing with really severe trauma.
Right, which is great, and people can call you at your number.
Absolutely.
Which is
760-985-8270, which is great because I know that Casey's going to put that on the screen also. Yeah, boy, these first interviews are great, aren't they? Working out all the bugs. I love it.
Yeah, well, when I speak, I'm trying to get you to, plug yourself.
I know you're feeding me. I know. I'm so self-centered, though.
I can only give you so many softballs, buddy. You're the one who's got to knock it out of the park.
Fair enough. Okay, I'll pounce on it. I'll pounce on it next time. Now, you can also head over to coachingandlife.com for my coaching services, and you can reach out to sagehypnotherapy.com to check me out also. But the neat thing about the havening is while it's a touch-based approach, and we get a lot of really good results if I'm doing the touching, and it's non-invasive. That's the best part because I don't want to touch anybody.
Yeah, people have their own space issues and triggers.
But I can do this online with you because I can guide you with the touch, and it's extremely simple. In fact, it's deceptively simple.
Let's demonstrate for him real quick.
Absolutely. So the havening touch in and of itself, in fact, this will be today's lesson. I'm going to teach you self-havening. And self-havening is a little different than dealing with a specific trauma. But if you're not familiar with affirmations, affirmations are positive statements that are in the here. You know, I am loved, I am capable, every day in every way I'm growing and growing, things of that nature.
If you're old and an SNL fan like me, Stuart Smalley, baby.
And doggone it,
people like me.
That's right. So now the havening, as I said, it's a touch-based approach, psychosensory. And what we're doing is we're targeting nerve clusters. And the first clusters are above the eyebrows and along the cheekbones there. And so you just kind of rub from the bridge of your nose out and kind of down. And what you're doing is
like this.
There you go. And you're
Like
stimulating those nerve clusters right there. All right, so that's a face washing technique. The next one, they may be able to see you do it a little bit easier. You got one hand on this shoulder, other hand on the other.
You do the hokey pokey and you rub the stress out.
Straight down, that's right. Now, you're not rubbing back up, you're just rubbing down.
Down, yes.
Right.
Always forward on the front of the body according to the Chinese meridian lines.
Yes, according to the Chinese meridian lines, who I had lunch with the other day, and they're doing great, by the way. They wanted me to say hi.
Hi back.
Ancient Chinese meridian lines. Now the third one, now that's the arm rubbing technique, obviously. And the third is just rubbing your hands together.
Well, who doesn't do some good old-fashioned hand wringing when they're thinking about their nefarious plots?
Yes, except you can kill two birds with one stone here, is you can have a nefarious plot and you can do affirmations. And what this does, Casey,
I will take over the world. I will own the world.
And in love.
I will control you all with love.
That's right. There we go. Don't make that face. So, and what it's doing is, because havening is not just doing a reset on the cells, it's actually creating new neural connections. So neurons that fire together, wire together. And whereas affirmations will change the chemistry in your brain, this will solidify that and make it even stronger. In fact, back east, I'm on the West Coast, and back east in New York, they're doing this in schools, and the reading levels are just going up, and the bullying is coming down. You know, if you're watching this and you're familiar with Casey at all, familiar with me, you know that we're big proponents of touch therapy.
Heck yes, we are. Positive touch. That's right. The most important thing you can ever teach a child, and actually teach yourself. A lot of grown adults don't even know it.
Absolutely. And you know what? A good handshake, you think about that. When you see somebody, we reach out, that handshake is very affirming.
It's an exchange of energy immediately, too.
That's right. And you know what? Even just a pat on the back. I used to teach, and you know, just that pat on the back, the handshake every day before class when the kids would come in, I'd shake each one's hand. They gave them that time, and I gave them that moment. And what it does is it releases those waves in the brain that allow the brain to heal.
Good old endorphins and delta waves.
That's right.
The body is a self-healing, beautiful mystery.
Here's my bumper sticker right there. Endorphins and delta waves.
I mean, a t-shirt.
That's right. It's the name of our band. The endorphins and delta waves. You're going to feel good. Our music may not be great, but you're going to feel great afterwards. Right.
Some of you may nap through the entire show.
That's right. Now, havening is a fairly recent thing.
But actually, that reminds me. But what you're saying about the whole touch therapy, and like the second you were teaching me this the other day on Friday, and like I told you then. So for those of you who are not aware and have not been paying attention to all my Facebook posts, my personal Facebook account of what's going on. So I have 8 pinched nerves in my neck. With a crushed vertebrae in my cervical. I'm currently on a waiting list to see multiple specialists, including a neurosurgeon, to hopefully fix what's going on that it's doing in my brain, which is making me think slower, and that I lose my train of thought very easily, and can't even remember things from a week ago, let alone lyrics from classic rock songs I've been singing for 30 years. So that's always a bad sign. But when I am having the extreme migraines and the extreme sensitivity that it causes with muscle spasms in my face that are micro, that can't be seen to the naked eye, but they're annoying to me. One of the first things I do is just start rubbing those areas, just like you were talking to me, and that immediately was one of those calming sensations that help with my nerve damage and everything that's going on with my migraines.
Yeah, you know what? When you think about it, havening is really kind of a natural response to general anxiety anyway. think about how many of us, when we get stressed, we just, we rub our face. There's something about that when, that the hugs feel good. How many of us rub our hands when we're getting ready to do something? You think about when when a baby's born, the baby's only desire is to not be abandoned. So it cries, and what does the mom do immediately? Reaches out for the baby, coddles it, strokes it, kisses its head, building a safe space in the brain for that baby, creating that safe haven.
Which is why most birthing centers and hospitals immediately do skin-to-skin contact for that.
Absolutely. And we see, I taught special ed, and so many of my kids did not have that kind of physical contact when they were born. I had drug babies, and I had other kids that their parents were just not connecting. And those kids, they were a little disassociated, but they just begged for that attention. That handshake in the beginning of the class meant a lot to them. You could just see it. It's probably the only time they're getting physical attention.
Which is so important too, because people like to question, what's the meaning? What's the secret of life? Well, aren't we all just looking for a little bit of acknowledgement?
Yeah. Being able to, that connection.
Connectivity.
Yeah. And I think there's something to that innate need, kind of we see it with animals. Monkeys are always preening each other, and even dogs, when they're tussling or sleeping, they're laying on each other.
My cat won't leave my dog alone.
And I'm sure your dog loves it.
Oh, he loves it.
Yeah. So what else can I share with you today?
Well, so that's a great practice that you guys can do out there physically. So what mental mantras, like my own personal mantra is positivity breeds positivity. The more you think positive, the more you speak positive, the more your actions are positive, the more you invite positive vibes, energy, and things to happen into your life. Doesn't mean you're ignoring the negativity, but
right.
You're choosing the positivity over the negativity, because it's life. Life's a choice. So
there's something.
What positive affirmations should people be saying to themselves while they're doing the havening touch?
What I always recommend is things that are addressing your specific situation and your needs. And you could, my life is full of abundance. I am improving every day. I'm learning new things. I am calm. If you have anger management issues, obviously I'm calm. I'm breathing. Anything that's going to address your specific situation. Right. And then you can do some general ones, like I said, my life is full of abundance. Money comes to me like oxygen, whatever it is. There are tons of it. Louise Hay, I think that's her name. Look her up. She has incredible affirmations. Her affirmations are really well designed. So Louise Hay or Louise May, I think it's Louise Hay. And take a look on Google her. Hers are brilliant. And as you scroll through hers, you will find easily 20 that you will resonate with and relate to. And those are the things, and also focus on your breathing. Inhale relaxation.
Mm-hmm.
Exhale tension.
Which you're absolutely correct, because this weekend I ran into master healer Carrie Hiroyuki Tagawa at the Albuquerque Comic-Con, who I haven't seen in like 6 years since I did an interview with him at C4 Ventura Comic-Con.
So are we going to get him on?
And I don't know. We'll see if he calls me. So those of you who know him, he's Shang Tsung, Mortal Kombat movies. You nerds know that. But here's what many of you may not know. That I got to learn spending an hour with him in his hotel room when he was teaching me these breathing techniques for healing the body that he himself has developed. Because the whole reason he got into martial arts was to learn not just the capability of defense and the martial arts, but to learn inner balance and self-healing techniques. And when he asked his master multiple times, and his master finally told him, he's like, look, until you've learned the art of martial arts to damage someone, then you can learn the healing side. Mm-hmm. So that was when he quit martial arts. And most people just know him as an actor and a martial artist, but actually he's an extremely gifted and talented healer.
That's fascinating. I never
Yeah.
knew that. Yeah.
I spent an hour with him, and he's been looking to put together some video representations and teaching videos to put out there for the public, because not to make money, because this is for the public, and I don't blame him. And so for any of you videographers are out there, hit up Kerry, hit me up. I'll try to put you in contact with him too, because we need to get that filmed. We need to get that out there online, because it's amazing. It's an amazing concept and technique, and it actually works. Well, I still use it to this day, all these years later.
That's awesome. And, breathing really is the key. If you think about it, every different discipline has a style of breathing. Runners breathe differently than swimmers, than opera singers, than surgeons. And when we learn to utilize those breathing techniques, it really can calm you down, allow you to take care of the business you need to take care of. But moreover, we stop breathing all the time, guys.
Especially when you're nervous or in a panicky state.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Being a teacher, I'm going to refer to that a lot, guys, because that was 20 years of my life. So the kids would stop breathing all the time. I would teach them in the first week how to breathe. They're like, I know how to breathe. I'm like, trust me, because you're going to stop breathing. It's when you hear that a big intake of air, especially during testing.
Right.
Teach you the breathing, you're going to do much better. You're going to be clear-headed.
And anyone who does any form of meditation or yoga knows that breathing is the format and the building blocks of everything you're doing, and the breathing is your focal point. And the same with what you did with me with the hypnotherapy.
Right, with the hypnotherapist too.
Yeah. And to take it to a whole nother level with the whole breathing, because here's the part of the yoga that people don't connect, that I connect as a massage therapist. So all of our organs and everything are so compact inside of our body, and everything is so beautifully placed, and then surrounded by muscles and surrounded by fascial tissue to keep the muscles in place. I mean, we are just beautiful, beautiful creations. I love the human body. So, but what happens is when you are putting yourself in all these different positions, and then you fill your lungs with air and they expand, it pushes on everything from the inside out. And so you're actually getting a bigger and better stretch than you normally would, just kind of stretching out before taking a jog.
And if you'll indulge me, if you're watching this, most people, when they take in the air, they take it up here, where they're used to take a deep breath and they're expanded. But
No. You take it in from the diaphragm, but then I'm a singer.
Right. And what you're doing is, I call them big belly breaths, because all the professionals say diaphragmatic breathing. Look, you're making your belly big, and it's pulling that diaphragm down. You get more room in there, and you're oxygenating the body. So if you're doing that, just practice. Make the belly big when you're sucking that air in, and then exhale the tension and make your shoulders drop.
Exactly. And look, Google the human body. You'll see that the lungs go like this, and sitting right under those lungs is your diaphragm.
Yeah.
So that's all we're talking about. Every singer out there knows they were taught to sing from their diaphragm, and then to differentiate after that between their chest and their throat voice. We're just educating y'all today. I hope y'all taking notes.
Yeah, I hope so. Well, you can watch this and rewatch this and share this and share this and rewatch this and share this. We're good with that.
Yeah. So for Havening.
So that's what's going on. Really, my focus right now on the East Coast, it's a little bit bigger. I'm on the West Coast. We don't have as many practitioners out here. There are less than 400 of us that are certified. I had to do a neuroscience course. I had to do an ethics course. I had a mentor. It was just like my college classes, except even in some a little more intense. But my hypnosis, reach out. A lot of people don't quite understand hypnosis. We'll do a topic on that on another show. And the coaching, I teach. I'm your lazy life coach, because I teach little things that are going to improve your life that aren't difficult. You don't have to walk on hot coals for me, right? Really, Anthony Robbins, come on. You'll talk on Legos for me. In fact, my entire
Anthony Robbins is a business person. He's not a life coach, people.
No, but you know what? And I respect what he's done, and I respect what he's given to people. But I don't need to walk on hot coals, because I step on a Lego, and I cry like a little girl with a skin knee.
Well, those things are evil.
They are. But
the Legos company know what they're doing.
They do. Actually, the woman I work with in Denmark, Barrett Lottafogan. She's the CEO of coachingandlife.com.
Yeah,
And she's
so
awesome.
you do a weekly segment with her, right?
I do every Wednesday. Yeah. In fact, you can go to Coaching and Life and go to the meetups, I think video meetups, and you can join us. It's at 10 a.m. Western time, Pacific time. And so 10 a.m. Pacific time on Wednesdays. And if not, you can still catch them. Go to my forum on Coaching and Life. Become a member of Coaching and Life, and you have access to a variety of different coaches. So if we have a relationship coach, we've got some business coaches, we've got a bunch of different resources you can use, but you can even just get on there and use what we're posting up there. Get the basic membership and use what we're posting, kind of do your own, self-help sort of thing, and then reach out with questions when you got them.
Yeah, we're all projects, all of us.
Yeah, and I like that. Yeah, we are all projects, and in process. So yeah, this is going to be a great year. 2020, we're going to knock it out of the park, and this is part of it. Being here with you, we've known each other for so long, and talked about working together for so long, that this is really one of those bucket list things for me to be able to, share my experience with your experience, partner those, and kind of help people feel better, because we're not just nerds. We're nerds with soul. Yeah. Well,
That's right. And this is not just your average nerd entertainment podcast.
No.
We have depth and we have soul. And thank you very much, Bryan C Dunn. Everybody, your lazy life coach. Reach out to him, call him directly, follow him, join the membership, see how other life coaches can get involved and help you. Find your own personal guru that works for you to help unlock your inner God and inner goddess to be the best you that you can be.
That's right. And he's going to have all my contact information is going to be posted on here, on the website, all of that. But reach out 760-985-8270, coachingandlife.com. On Facebook at Bryan C Dunn, Bryan with Bryan C Dunn, and then Sage Hypnotherapy. Check it out. I can't wait to see you guys on the next one.
All right. Well, thanks for being on the first episode, our 10-year anniversary of Down the Road show. Thank you very much, Bryan, and we will see you down the road. All right, here we go. Man. All right, and next on is my friend Taryn Allen. How are you doing, Taryn?
I'm doing fantastic. How are you doing, Casey?
I'm doing good. I love you so much. You're just a sweet person. You're one of my favorite people to actually have a serious life discussion with every time I see you at a Comic-Con, because there's always something going down.
Oh, man. No, especially before you moved to New Mexico at WonderCon, we had a very big, discussion about what I was dealing with at the time. Ooh, we have some good ones.
Yeah. But let's promote you real quick. You do a lot of tutorials for makeup on your Instagram.
I do have an Instagram. It's called Big, Bold, and Glam. And I do whatever comes to mind. It can be seasonal related. It can be comic book related. Heck, I may just feel like wearing a whole face of blue one day. You know what I mean? So that's what I love to do. And the reason I do it is I love to create. And what's great about makeup is you can be whatever you want to be. There's no rule. There's no rules, because I think that's the one thing I hate is they try to constrict you, well, you have to wear this color and this is not good for your skin tone. You can't do that.
Well,
throw all that out the window.
Well, then let's take it a step further, though, because makeup has changed over the years now, because now they actually have makeup designed for Black women.
Oh, my God. Bless you, Rihanna, for actually opening that door. I love her for that so much. I mean, when she came out with her foundation line, and I was able to actually get one bottle and not get two and mix them up, and then, dude, I was mashing the store. I was just
wow. So it sounds like you used to have a science degree just to do your own makeup.
Oh, from the beginning, I want to say starting when I was 13, I want to say, because my mother does this, and my mother's actually lighter complected than I am. She had to mix two bottles to get her foundation shade. And it was a 6 science experiment. And I tell you that because you would get two bottles and you would think, oh, I got it perfectly. But if you add too much light or too much dark, it's going to come out a completely different color. I mean, it was just, it was a nightmare, man. And having to buy two, and that's not fiscally, you know, benefiting either, because you're buying 2 bottles for what you wanting one shade. And, you know, and then when you would find your match, like for me growing up, I would get Revlon, and then Maybelline came out with the Maybelline Fit Me. And they did have my shade, but here was the problem. It broke me out massively every time I used it. But I used it because guess what? It was one bottle. And I wanted to use one bottle.
Right. And how many options were there on the market, period?
Oh God, not many.
Right.
There were very few brands that have even, they were like, they would do this. I'm not even joking. It would be egg white, bone, shell, a little bit of a darker shell shade, mahogany.
No in between. No in between.
You would get like maybe a caramel, maybe a sandal beige, and then we go mahogany.
Yeah.
And the joke in the community is, if you do mahogany, you are literally saying, we have nothing else for you. This is what you have. You get mahogany. And it is like not even and there are people who are even darker than that. So, you know, it is a big thing about representation just in general. So then when Rihanna came into the game and released her 40 shades, which was unheard of. And I will tell you, that was the first time in my life where I saw the dark shades sell out. They were gone before the light shades even left the shelves. And if that doesn't teach the beauty community supply and demand, I don't know what will.
Yeah, because we're not here just to talk about, we need representation in movies and TV. This is representation in life.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, and it's always been that way. It's always been that way. Because even growing up, when you're a teenager and you're going through, I'm going to date myself, so please excuse me. When you're going through J14 or like Teen Beat or anything like that, where are the majority of the women and girls you see in there? They're mostly of Caucasian.
The ones in the community I was raised in, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. The long flowing hair and the nice little bit of, natural brown. That ain't gonna show up over here. Like, do you see this? That ain't gonna show up. I need I need the neutral for me.
Specialized.
What's neutral for you is not going to be neutral for me. So that representation across the board is just so majorly important, and you feel included. Because there was actually a scandal, I want to say there's been so many scandals in the beauty community, but that's a discussion for a whole nother thing about toxicity and cancellation, which I'm not going to get into right now. But
being over PC, I get it, yeah.
Not just over PC, but dramatized. And some things don't need to be on social media. If it's a personal problem, just keep it off. But with Tarte, they released a foundation. And it was based on their concealer, and it was called the Shape Tape Concealer, and this thing like blew up the market. It had a great shade range, great formula, great coverage, et cetera, et cetera. Then they said, okay, well, we're going to release the foundation to go with it. They had a hydrating one and a matte one. Matte refers to the finish. I'm doing this for the people who may not be as well versed in makeup.
Like I am, yeah.
like you. And hydrating, which means, it's good for the skin, and because everybody has different skin types. Me personally, I'm more normal to dry, so like the hydrating one would be good for me and not necessarily the matte. Anyway, both versions only had 12 shades, and it went stark white to like a medium beige, and then there were 3 dark shades in each. And
there's a lot more shades of brown than that. And
I will tell you, the blow up on the internet was catastrophic. Everybody was like, really? And mind you, this was after Rihanna came out with Fenty Beauty. So everybody...
They thought they were keeping up with Rihanna.
Because Rihanna came out going, hey, here's 40 shades. Here's basically a shade for everybody. And guess what? She has expanded. She now has 50 shades. She's expanded since then. But this came after that, and it was 12 shades each. And there was a popular YouTuber named by Jackie Ina, and she's darker complected than I am. It was her and Alyssa Ashley, and they were sent the 3 darkest shades in PR. Jackie couldn't wear any of the shades. One was either too orange, or one was too light, or one was too red. Yeah, and they were immediately put on blast. And Tarte's response was the most lazy I heard. They said, well, people are different shades in different seasons. So right now we're working on the summer shades, hence why they're a little darker. So you may have to wait till winter to have your shade.
Okay.
And I'm like, excuse me.
So does that go to a black don't crack kind of, you guys tan at all? How do you know when a black man is blushing type of thing?
We do get darker. We do get darker in the summer, honestly. If you see, like, the joke was if you look at my yearbook photos, because they always took the school picture in the beginning of the year. Here was the problem. I was in marching band. I spent 3 months in the sun. I got dark.
Yeah.
Okay, I got dark. So every time the yearbook would come out, which would be in May, everybody would be like, you're a little dark there. Like, what is that? I'm like, I was in the sun for 3 months. When you're in the sun for 3 months, you tend to get a little color. And I do go back, like in the winter.
I need 3 minutes. 3 minutes in the sun. That's all I need.
And you're good.
I'm good.
And you turn red like this right here, right?
My lights are making me feel suntan right now. Anyway.
So that scandal happened, and then Tarte never recovered from that. They tried to expand the range after, and guess what? Nobody bought it because they were put on cancel.
Right.
And so then they're like, okay, well, we're just going to put it on clearance and see if people buy it. Nobody bought it. Nobody's buying it. Okay, we're just going to pull the whole thing, and then we're just going to reformulate and do a whole new foundational scheme. So
by trying to be that inclusive, they ended up excluding more people.
Absolutely. When you do something like that, you are basically telling an entire group of people, you don't matter.
Right. We didn't get the colors right. We didn't do the research. Who cares?
And the thing is, you can't even say technology is an excuse anymore. You have the technology to make basically any shade you want. Now, don't get me wrong, making darker shades or certain pigments are a little harder than, say, making a light one, okay? Because of the formulation, everything that has to go into it. There's so many undertones you have to take into consideration. I get it. It's very hard. But if you take the time and do it correctly,
it's profitable.
It will pay off. It is profitable. And I always, and I use it again as an example with my kimono beads here. Black Panther is a good example of that. For the longest time, when people thought of African-American films, they immediately thought of the 1970s Black exploitation films, like Shaft, like Superfly. All of those where again, the main character wasn't really the best guy in the world. Honestly, he was either a crooked cop or a pimp or the anti-hero, essentially. And again, I was talking to one person, and I said, the reason why Black Panther is so monumental and so huge.
Wakanda forever.
Exactly. Wakanda forever. You have to imagine this. You have a Black director, Black cast, a whole Black crew. And this movie made, except for one, well, okay, two. Two white dudes for good measure, because you got to have your token white dudes. Hey, we were the token people for long enough. Okay, it's your turn.
Yeah, I get the joke. I got it. The second I saw it in the movie, I got it. It was a joke.
To show that you could have a film primarily of African Americans and of an African American superhero, and it be profitable. This movie made billions of dollars. There is a sequel in the works. They went to South Africa. They did their research, not just on fabrics, like, who was that guy from Monty Python that had criticized the film? I don't remember. It was somebody from Monty Python. Terry Gilliam. I'm sorry. Terry Gilliam. He criticized it. but they studied the whole geography of South Africa, the culture, the different tribes, the inspiration.
Right.
Heck, the guy who played T'Chaka, he is from South Africa. The language they were speaking was Xhosa. I can't say it because I cannot speak it. And the reason what makes it so unique is the X's you click.
Mm-hmm.
And that is the language that you primarily hear in the movie when you hear them speak, is Xhosa, which is an actual dialect there.
Right.
It's an actual language that they use. And the guy who played T'Chaka, he was actually teaching them on set.
And this movie was not made to represent Terry Gilliam.
No. And Black Panther, when he was made by Stan Lee in the late 1960s, early 1970s, it was because of the Black Panther movement that he actually had Black Panthers come to his office. Because, at the time, and Marvel still is, the groundbreaker for representation. They are always the one to open the door, and then others go and they expand upon it. And they wanted to say, hey, we want a character too. So he thought, and that's why Black Panther was made, to have a basically a kingdom that has been untouched, uninhabited by any European influence.
White people, just say it, by white people.
Yeah, I got me. I'm just saying, man. Anyway, I know, no need for PC here, right?
Not on Down the Road show, not when you're talking to me.
When you have an African nation that has been uncivilized, by I'm gonna say it again because I'm so used to it, man. It's been ringing in my head. And they are a scientific nation, the most scientifically advanced nation in the world. And just the strength that you see, and the fact that you can be whatever you want. You can be a king, you can be a queen, you can be a scientist, you can be a soldier. And it doesn't matter your gender, it doesn't matter your position.
That's power.
It's power. And it's so amazing to see that. One of my favorite pieces I bought, it was from a artist that I saw at WonderCon, actually. And he specialized in kids' imagination. And he had a kid dressed in like black jeans and a black hoodie, and he had his cat. And behind him was Black Panther on a rock. And to me, that just simplified everything that this movie represents. It gives Black girls and Black boys hope that they can be whatever they want to be. They don't have to follow in what their environment was. Like for me, for instance, I grew up primarily in a white neighborhood, and I am still there. But I was not encouraged to become, a doctor or a lawyer or whatever. It was like, well, maybe you could go into theater, or you can do this, or, maybe you could, be a janitor or something. And it was, and experiencing stuff growing up that you don't understand. I will never forget when I was 12 years old, most of my family is from Los Angeles, because that's, they were born and raised, they came here from Georgia. And I remember one kid saying, well, how come I don't see a lot of your family picking you up? Like, because the people would have like their grandmothers or grandpas. So I said, well, my grandparents are dead, number one. Number two, most of my family doesn't live nearby. They live in Los Angeles. He's like, well, no wonder you're Black. Your family is from Los Angeles. Which, now thinking back as an almost 30-year-old person, that is the most
asinine, stupid
statement. But then again, we were 12. So, but it was just like, what does that mean?
I just can't with people. I just fucking can't.
Like, what does that mean? I don't understand. So you think everybody from Los Angeles is Black? Like, have you seen what the Mecca of Hollywood is mostly?
Yeah, and don't forget all the Mexicans.
Yeah, pretty much. Actually, I went to see my mother's childhood home, and it was actually very cool to see. And she actually warned me. She said, I'm going to warn you, it's going to look like little Tijuana. And I went, what? Sure enough, it looked like little Tijuana. It was cool to see her house, though. It was really beautiful.
But neighborhoods change, and they go through cycles, and that's part of it. And I mean, let's. I mean, if we want to get into systemic racism, the housing in this country has been as big as a part of it as anything.
Oh yeah, one of the examples I like to use is Nat King Cole. He bought a house out in, I want to say, the Santa Monica area, which at the time was primarily a white area. And it was a very expensive house, a gorgeous house. And everybody knew Nat King Cole. You
Oh
know, he
yeah,
was a
Nat King Cole.
crooner, and he would, people would have house parties and they wanted him to perform. Well, he found out that they were basically using him as free entertainment.
Mm-hmm.
He then decided, you know, that's not right. If you want me as entertainment, you got to pay me.
Yeah,
And so he
up.
sent invoices to their house. He put invoices in their mailbox.
That's awesome.
And it was after that that people boycotted him living there. Like, well, we don't want this, you know, I'm usually dealing with, we don't want this Negro here. He's going to bring down the property value. When in reality, he was one of the biggest music stars at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And he was just like, no, I have every right to live here.
Yeah.
I pay my taxes and I pay my rent.
And how dare he charge for his services to those white people?
And again, you have to, they literally thought of him as free entertainment. They thought, well, we let you live in this neighborhood, you should basically jump when we say jump.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know, and
how dare you kneel in front of a flag?
How dare you? How dare you? And it's just like, we have made progress. I'm not saying we haven't moved. We have made progress. We have made it so that it is not the social norm. Whereas back then, that was the social norm. That's how things worked at the time. You know, you couldn't go to this certain restaurant. You couldn't eat. You couldn't use this bathroom. You couldn't go to this library. You couldn't go to this school.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's not like that anymore. You're not denied entry to anywhere. We do have more opportunities. It's the invisible social stigmas that are still there.
Haven't changed.
And they haven't changed. And it is 2020 and they are still there.
And with politics as they are lately, they're just coming out as strong as ever.
And
let's not go too deep down that rabbit hole.
We're not gonna go deep down this rabbit hole, because then we'll just be talking all night, and this just turns into a totally different podcast.
Right.
But I have said to people, this has brought out the ugly in people. They now seem to have an excuse to be ugly, and just because they can, when in reality, it's not okay. And a lot of people know that it's not okay. And a lot of the people that were the pioneers, they're leaving us. You know, they're leaving us. Like one of the biggest ones we lost was Maya Angelou. She was a big pioneer, not just in life, in knowing what you want and being open for, hi kitty, and being open, but in her fearlessness and knowing what was right to do.
Right, yeah.
And into her 80s, she didn't stop.
Yeah, that kind of braveness is rare.
It's very rare.
Yeah, and extreme courage to stand up against those ideals for, you know, that are oppressive towards women and people of different ethnicities.
And one of my friends who I love very dearly, it was after the 2016 election results, and the ugliness was already coming out, and he wanted to tell me, he's white, and he wanted to understand what I was going through, and I love him to death. He's like a brother to me. But I explained to him, I said, there's no way you can possibly understand, because there's this thing called the black tax. What that is that there is already a tax on your head that you have to pay because of what your ancestors or your family members had to go through before you.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And the things that I have to think of when I go somewhere
in in social.
Is
Yeah.
in social, it's completely different than what you think about. I probably have 10 to 20 things on my mind that you don't. And there's no way I can possibly explain that. And there's no way that you can understand. And I'm not saying that to be mean. I'm not doing that to belittle you. There is just no possible way. And this is from birth.
Right.
And
Right.
I knew I was different from birth, from I was a little kid.
And that's something like, and I know you're not saying it to me, but you're also saying it to everyone out there currently watching this video, that it's not,
Mm.
you're not saying it to be offensive. And just like, I understand, like,
No,
look,
absolutely not.
I'm born with white privilege, and I get white privilege in lots of situations throughout my life, but that doesn't make me racist.
No, absolutely not. I am not doing this to belittle anybody. I'm not doing this to offend everybody. But there are things that need to be said. And I understand that you want to be compassionate. You want to sympathize. But the reality of it is there are just some things that you will not be able to understand unless you were like this, unless you have to go through life being teased, being judged. Like I just like as you know, last year, WonderCon, one of our conversations, I was still going through it. This was 2019
As an adult.
as an adult, and I'm still going through it to this day. Like I remember, especially 2020, it was 2016. It was really rough because I had extensions in my hair. They were gorgeous. I got whatever color I wanted. I loved.
They were great.
He remembers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were great.
I love them to death, but I will tell you that having my hair like that, I got the most insane comments, insane judgments I've ever heard in my life. Some I'm not going to repeat on here because not going to put that out there.
Even too offensive for online, huh? That's great. And not surprising at the same time. But and basically, if I can put it in a tiny nutshell, what you're saying is it's not necessarily like us as white people, we can never understand, but it doesn't mean we can't be aware.
Exactly. Correct. You can be aware of it. You may not be able to understand it fully, but awareness is the first key. And the only way it can be started to understand is you have to talk.
Yeah.
And that's the first thing. And even just talking nowadays, it's like you say one thing that somebody doesn't agree with, and it sparks, somebody throws a damn hissy fit. I feel like they're going to break the keys on their keyboard. Like, Jesus Christ.
And then it's the end of a relationship, just like that.
Oh my God. It is
But to get back on point, like,
yeah, go ahead.
Like, especially with inclusion, like, I was just making this point the other day. I grew up and I was Luke Skywalker for 2 Halloweens in a row because guess what? He looked like me. But
oh, man.
It's a different society we're living in now too, because now all the kids want to be Darth Vader. Nobody wants to be Luke Skywalker, and it has nothing to do with him being a white blonde-haired little boy. It's just everybody likes the dark side. Everybody wants to be the villain in society for one reason. But when it comes to this inclusion, man, nothing shows the importance of inclusion like just watching you talk about the movie Black Panther and the way it touched you, girl. You almost cried. That's
I almost, dude.
like I don't get that way about Luke Skywalker.
And I tell you, one of the first I remember I met Phil Lamar, and I remember meeting Phil Lamar.
He never remembers meeting me, and I love meeting him every time. Awesome. Yeah.
And the reason why I love Phil Lamar was because growing up, I had 3 shows I watched on loop. Okay, it was the Batman animated series.
Hell yeah.
Static Shock, and Justice League, and then of course Justice League Unlimited, which came out later. Mm-hmm. And the reason why I loved Justice League Unlimited so much was not just the writing and the characters and the stories. They had John Stewart. Because growing up, I knew Green Lantern as Hal Jordan. And then I saw John Stewart. And John Stewart reminded me of my brother, the way he looked at the time. And I just remember going, he looks like Justin. He looks like my brother. I was so excited. I was so happy. And to see that inclusion as a kid is so cool. And Static Shock, same thing, but he was the main character. And then I remember there was an episode, I think it was called like A Stitch in Time, something like that. It was a two-parter in Justice League Unlimited, and John Stewart had a key part in it. And they go into the future because one of the villains had a time belt, and he wanted to get away from his nagging wife, basically, essentially. And he kept jumping, and they get to the future, and you got to see old Static Shock, and I'm like, dude. He still had the dreads. They were gray, but dude, he looked amazing. He was still the same quick wit person he was. He's just now an older man. He just wasn't a teenager. And it was just,
brought you back.
It was just, oh man, it was just so amazing to see. And that was in the 90s and early 2000s, I think, if we're really bridging time. And even then, that was it. And then everybody's like, but you had superhero movies. I'm like, Steel with Shaquille O'Neal does not count. Okay. See, he's laughing because he understands why I'm saying that. That movie was an atrocity.
Oh, God.
And it was this. Steel does not count. And I'm sorry, they could have done better with Spawn. Okay. I'm just going to put it out there.
Yeah.
It's like, no. That's what I had. That is what I had.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I had that, and then I had Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, and then I had Family Matters. I had the Bill Cosby Show, the reruns at the time, and I had.
Oh, because those hold up so well now.
Oh, dude, oh my. Oof. I can't. There are some things that, hey, Claire Huxtable will still put you under a table. Do not mess with Claire Huxtable.
Mm-hmm,
okay?
Mm-hmm, okay.
That thing, do not take that away from her. Claire Huxtable will put you under a table. But I will say, growing up, one of the films I watched on repeat, 1978, The Wiz. I watched it on repeat because that's what I had.
Right.
And I probably wore the VHS down to a pulp. For younger people that are on here, we did have VHSs before DVDs and Blu-ray and streaming. It was great. Anyway.
Yeah, but you're not naming off a ton of titles and a ton of options. I mean,
no,
that's the way it is. This is why Black Lives matter, because it's, well, that's more of a cop thing, but it's.
I was going to say, we're not going to get into that.
Yeah.
That's another conversation. That's
another conversation. Well, stay tuned on the next podcast for my conversation with Douglas, actually. Where we did get into some pretty heavy discussions. So anyway, this podcast is not afraid to get deep, but
no.
And it's just, I don't know why I gotta turn blue and purple in the face explaining this to my white friends on
in
why
the
they
mouth too.
Yeah, and why they get so angry about things that it's just like, you've had nothing but white characters your entire life growing up. Holy shit!
You have an entire catalog that's probably about. Probably three
Star
Library
Trek,
of
Star
Congress
Wars, The Witcher, everything. Cheers, name TV shows from the 80s, like just
70s, God.
Everything. And it was all, and every joke was homophobic and making fun of brown people and extremely misogynistic. We've come a long way, but not far enough.
Let's see, we had Good Times. We had, the Jeffersons. Let's see, let me think about, Sanford and Son. Let me think one more time. Hang on. Give me a second.
I'm waiting.
Give me a minute.
I'm waiting. We ain't got all night on this podcast, but I'm waiting.
I know. We ain't got. I'll probably get more in probably another minute, but right now those are the three I can go.
Yeah, you'll think of the other two. Yeah.
The other two, or probably three, that are probably dug in the back of my head, probably somewhere in the deep regis.
Yeah. And A-Team does not count, people. The A-Team does not. One black man does not make a black show. Sorry.
He was very influential in that TV show, but no, one token black character does not a black sitcom make. and then no, we had Sister.
I went through Sister was great.
We had Sister. We had
wait, now I heard they're doing like a reunion show for Sister.
They are doing a reunion show for Sister. There was Family Matters as well, and then we had well, growing up for me, That's So Raven, I still consider because again, that was one of the modern shows. Corey in the House was another one. There were some groundbreaking shows back in the day, and it was so sad to see it go completely backwards. And what I don't like, especially about when people do cultural appropriation, is especially, like I said, when we're going back to my braids with the hairstyles, when you see dreads on an African American person, yeah, there is a set way to take care of them. Okay, don't get me wrong. I have met some that have let their dreads get nasty. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
you got to take care of those suckers. Okay, or they're just gonna fall out of your head. But
Doesn't matter what color you are.
No. You gotta take care of them, or they get very, very nasty and very smelly. Anyway, and so, but if you see it on a Black person, you think they're dirty, you think they're disgusting. But when it's on a white person, it's chic and fabulous.
Yeah, no.
Excuse me. Excuse me.
It's a dirty, ratty mess. That's what dreads are.
Like I don't understand. I do not understand why it's fashionable on one, and it means you're dirty on the other. When actually it can be the other way around. I'm just saying. I met some white people that do not know how to take care of dreads, and I can see them like, you're gonna have to cut those out of your head, shave your head down, and then give your scalp a good wash.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
You know, and that's the other thing. I have an advice for everybody: stop asking to touch our hair. Just stop it.
Yeah, that's just rude.
Just stop it. It's rude. I don't like it. And it invades. Do you see me coming up to you and say, "Can I touch your bald head? Can I just?"
Actually, that happens to me a lot now that I shaved my hair off. But even when I had the hair, strangers would just come up and touch my hair. And they were like,
stop touching.
Yeah, like
stop touching me.
Not ooh, like ooh, you're black. What? Ooh, it feels weird and smudgy. No, like even as a white man, you just don't touch other people without their permission. It's rude.
Or it's like, and when I say no, don't touch my hair, I mean don't touch me.
Yeah, all of me.
I will never forget. I had one girl, like when I had my hair down. Right now, is you can't see right now, but it's a natural curly hair. It's actually amazing when it's down. But this lady, I will never forget. She came up and she just sniffed my hair. It was like the most
creepy.
How are you?
Ew, ew, ew.
Don't do that, people.
You stop.
But I was about to segue into something, like, because you're talking about, you know, just the way things are viewed, and like I just recently found out. So The Hustle with Rebel Wilson and Anne Hathaway.
Anne Hathaway.
Okay, which is basically a remake of Dirty Rotten Scoundrels.
Of Scoundrels.
Yes. Okay. That they redid in their own way. Well, they tried to make it rated R. And
oh God.
Yes. So unbeknownst to me, I just found this out today from my sister Tisha. Thank you for letting me know this, Tish. Rebel Wilson was going to law school before she became an actress, so she's like extremely smart and all this. So she went and fought the FCC on it and literally counted every dick joke, pussy joke, booby joke, all of that, and was like, look, we're well inside the FCC ratings. You're just trying to make us R because we're women. And they had to change it to PG-13. So fighting the good fight.
Wow. Man, I didn't know that.
Yeah, pretty much all the same storyline, damn near the same jokes, but from a woman's point of view. And now all of a sudden, ooh, that's distasteful.
Wow. So let me get this straight. A man can just basically do the same things and basically get a PG-13. A woman, on the other hand, oh, no, women can't do that. It's too scandal. Oh, freaking kiss my ass.
There we go. Kiss my grits.
Kiss my ass. Kiss my grits. Or if I can do in Medea's family reunion, just get a pot of hot grits and just throw them and let's play grit ball.
Awesome. Well,
you guys have to see Tyler Perry stuff, okay? Don't skip on it. Anyway.
Yep. Tyler Perry is very funny and a talented filmmaker. And quite frankly, I'm extremely excited he started his own studio.
Oh my, it's huge.
Yeah.
It is and here's I want to bring something about that. The fact that he's one of the first Black filmmakers to have his own massive studio like Warner Brothers.
Mm-hmm.
Hello?
Mm-hmm.
Hello?
It's about time. It's about time. So it'll be
And
interesting to
this is
see
and
what.
it opened last year.
Yeah,
in
and
2019.
well, and the other major studios have already been filming there too. So it's not just Black movies that are coming out of there.
He specifically said I wanted my own studio for films. He didn't say
Right.
and that's the other thing I don't.
Because he's inclusive.
Thank you. And that's the other thing that I don't like that people do is they water it down or they twist it and make it a racist statement. That's what I don't like. Like just for like you said with Tyler Perry Studios, it's like, oh, I guess it's just only going to be for Black filmmakers and Black actors. Like he did not say that. That is not what he said. That is not anything you said. You think that just because a Black man opened his own studio, he's only going to, he's not, okay, here's the thing. He's Black, but he ain't stupid.
Mm-hmm.
He's still a businessman at the end of the day.
Mm-hmm.
He ain't stupid. You know, and I don't understand. Why do you give us extra criteria to fill? Why? And it's invisible criteria that doesn't exist until you put it there. It's like you don't want it. You want us to either be a drug dealer, a pimp, starving for money, a dish somewhere on the freaking bottom.
Mm-hmm.
Because because we have been proving, especially I want to say in the past 10 years, I want to say the past 10, we're right up there with you. And sometimes we do it a little bit better. We can make just as money as you. We can be just as successful as you. And we can be right there at the top. And we deserve to be there at the top.
Amen, girl.
And the fact that we are now taking those seats next to you, all of a sudden it's, wait a minute, what you doing here? Why are you at this table? And
that's right. We invited you all a long time ago and forgot.
We forgot. Oh yeah, that's right. We were supposed to make space. And now I'm gonna make this disclaimer because I know there's gonna be somebody out there that's gonna twist my words. I am not saying every person is like this. I am not saying that at all. The problem is what's happening is the minority is doing this and they won't shut up. That is the problem. And the problem is that voice is a lot louder than the other people. It's fewer people, but they have made themselves so loud. And then you guys who don't see, who are complete opposite, you don't say anything. You don't say anything. You just go, well, I don't believe like that. Then say something. Because I will say this, we have done a lot of work, but we cannot do it on our own. Yeah, exactly. Exactly, Casey.
This fucking guy.
Mm-hmm. We cannot do it on our own. And I will recommend to everybody, this has been since the beginning. This is not just for 2020. This is not just for now. Watch the film Selma. Selma was released a couple of years ago. And it was based on what happened in Selma in the marches in Montgomery, Alabama, with Martin Luther King. And it involves Bloody Sunday, which was actually one of the worst days of the march. Okay. That was the main crux of the film. And they even show that there were white people marching with them. 2 of them got killed. And because they knew, all these Blacks can stand together and they can talk, but unless we stand with them, they're not going to be heard. Even back then, people knew it was wrong. But they knew they had to speak, they had to talk in order for something to change. And they were met with resistance. And even more so now, right now, it's just words. Mm-hmm. Now it's mostly words and threats. There is some violence. There is some deaths still to this day. But back then, if you even just walked on the street and said something, you could have been beaten to a pulp by a police officer.
Yep.
And you could be just by association. You know what I mean? These groups now have a voice at the top, and they're using it. And what you guys need to do is to stand up and say no. Just because this is what cowards do. They use other people as an excuse for their bad behavior. And this is what this is. This is elementary school crap that we're going through right now. And it needs to stop. It's doing more harm than good than anything else. Mm-hmm. And I'm one person. I am one person, and I have family that I love and adore. I have a lovely little nephew who is 4, and he is mixed. And I will tell you, at the rate this is going, I am terrified for that boy. I am terrified. I don't know what's going to happen. And everybody's like, but it's fine. I said, you don't understand. He now has a social stigma already imprinted on his head. At 4 years old, he has a social stigma already on his head. We're doing everything we can to not shield him, but to make him proud of who he is, and to value his own self-worth as a 4-year-old boy. But I am terrified of what's going to happen with him, because growing up, that social stigma is going to be there. And even more so that he's mixed. And a lot of people don't know this, but Bob Marley was mixed. He had a white father and a Jamaican mother, and he was teased mercilessly for that. And that's what I fear. And I will never forget when I told somebody that I worked with and we were conversating, because her son is mixed too. He's half Caucasian, half Mexican, and then my nephew's half Caucasian, half Black. And she said she's terrified too, because she's like, I don't know what's going to happen with my son. And another lady came in and she says, well, I think mixed babies are beautiful. I said, that's not what we're talking about.
Good, but you're one person.
But you're one person. And what you just said you liked is a outside physical attribute that has nothing to do with their personality.
Right.
And what we're trying to do now is to make it so that no one is teased by the way they look, but they are judged by who they are. In the most famous quote by MLK, from his I Have a Dream speech, that everybody knows, but nobody internalizes. He says, I have a dream that one day my 4 little children will not be judged by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character.
I hope everybody gets judged by the content of their character. I like to think of that as instant karma.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And with karma, it comes back around. Because, all these people, I will say this, you may feel safe now, but it will come back. It may not come back immediately, but it will come back to you. And everybody deserves the right to live the life they want, live where they want, and be happy.
And love who they want.
And thank you, and love who they want, and marry whoever they want. I don't care. I've never understood that. For me, it's like, you can marry whoever you want. I don't care.
Everyone has the equal opportunity to be miserable in a marriage.
Very, very true. I can remember I remember when Prop 8 came out, and I remember there was a little magnet I saw, and it said, gay marriage, everybody has the right to be miserable.
Yep, exactly.
And I was like, yeah, pretty much.
Well, here at Down the Road Show, we are all inclusive, and we hope that you guys judge us by our content and our character. And hopefully I hope everybody out there is enjoying the content we're going to be putting on. Thank you very much for being here, Taryn. Always a pleasure to talk to you. And
always a pleasure.
To just get on another deeper level to know you better than I already do.
Yeah, well, yeah, it's so funny. Anytime we talk, this is what happens. I mean, I think we could easily talk for 4 or 5 hours at a time, but just have conversations. I think that if I want to leave anybody with anything, just talk. and listen.
That's the important part about talking and having a conversation is the listening.
Don't immediately judge. Listen all the way through. And if you don't agree, guess what? That's fine. You don't have to agree. But stop and listen, and then maybe you may learn something. And heck, you may learn something about yourself, and that's not just the other person. That's all I have. That's all I have to say here.
All right. Well, go follow her on Instagram and get some good life advice and some tutorial for makeup for you. So
absolutely.
we'll see you somewhere down the road.
I'll see you somewhere down the road. All righty, Casey.